Yo, what's good everybody? Welcome back. So, today we're diving into Red Hulk issue number 6. And trust me, this one's a beast. We've got covert facilities, Sharkman prisons, cybernetic upgrades, and a surprise villain reveal that flips the power dynamic on its head. Deathlok's on a rescue mission, Machine Man's back online, and General Ross? He's about to find out he's not the only weaponized soldier in the room. Let's break it down. Alright, so let's set the scene. We open up at this sketchy Department of Defense facility. And when I say sketchy, I mean the sign literally reads, Waste Disposal, No Trespassing. Already we know something shady's going down, right? It's nighttime, and we got this guard named Wellbaum doing his rounds when he hears something in the dark. Dude flicks on his flashlight, and he is not ready for what he's about to see. He tries to radio control, asking if they copy, but before he can even finish his sentence, wham! Wellbaum's knocked out cold, and stepping into view is none other than Deathlok. Now Deathlok picks up the radio and mimics Wellbaum's voice, telling Control everything's fine, just a little scare. But when they ask for a security verification code, Deathlok's like, piss off, and tosses the radio. So Deathlok's weaving through this compound, dodging patrols with straight up precision. Eventually he reaches this decrepit building deep in the facility, and he's searching for someone. His onboard computer tries to give him the odds, saying something like, the chances that he hasn't yet been melted down are 5 billion too. But Deathlok cuts him off real quick. Never tell me the odds, Pooter. And to me I felt like that gave off Han Solo energy. Deathlok's not trying to hear about probability. He's here on a mission, and he's gonna see it through no matter what the numbers say. Then he sees him, Machine Man, lying limp on a conveyor belt, literally inches from being tossed into an incinerator. Deathlok leaps forward and pulls him off just in time, and you can hear the emotion in his voice when he says, "Ah damn, I'm sorry, we've seen better days, haven't we?" Machine Man's barely functional, sparks flying from his damaged frame, glitching out asking where Red Hulk is. And Deathlok tells him, that's the very question I've been asking myself. He needs Machine Man's help, and he's guessing Red Hulk needs theirs too. Now we cut to this maximum security cell where Red Hulk is absolutely losing it. He is slamming his fists against reinforced walls over and over, roaring, muscles bulging, but nothing's giving. Eventually he reverts back to his human form, General Thaddeus Ross, and he's standing there breathing heavy, with his eyes burning with straight fury. And this is where we get one of the most powerful quotes in the entire issue. Ross says in his internal monologue, "Rage doesn't feel like the right word. It's tainted by betrayal, disgust, even defeat. It's one thing to be a prisoner of your enemy. It's another to be a prisoner of the country you gave everything to." Let that sink in for a second. This man dedicated his entire life to serving the United States military, and now they got him locked up in some black site facility. That's not just painful, that's a betrayal that cuts deep into everything he believed about duty and honor. The cell door creaks open, and this female guard steps in, asking if he's done with his daily tantrum. She tells him if he promises to behave, he can put on this inhibitor and they'll go for a little walk. Ross straps it on and asks where they're going, and she introduces herself as First Sergeant Tamika Bowden. Ross asks if it's a lawyer meeting him because by his count, he's been locked up for a month without any representation. But Tamika can't speak to that. She's just following orders. She leads him outside, and Ross is legit shocked. He's like, the hell is this? Turns out prisoners at max security get 2 hours outside, and she's giving him a minute. Ross points out that letting him out probably breaks protocol, and Tamika admits it does, but says it's not right to deprive a man of fresh air and sunlight. And yo, this small act of kindness is about to become super important in a second. So Ross steps into the sunlight and immediately starts calculating. He sees the Blue Ridge Mountains and figures out 20 clicks from Langley, give or take. North by northwest. I'd been wondering where you were keeping me. There's a reason you weren't supposed to bring me outside, First Sergeant. Ross then raises his arms, about to strike, and says, I normally consider it unforgivable to hit a woman, but... And Tamika catches his arm mid-swing, like it's nothing. Effortless. Ross is standing there stunned, asking, what? Are you? And Tamika rolls up her sleeve, revealing a gleaming metal arm. She tells him, someone who tried to show you some kindness. Don't ever try that on me again, sir. Ross thought he was gonna overpower her and escape, but this whole facility is operating on a completely different level. Tamika's not just some regular guard, she's enhanced, and that's our first real hint that something way bigger is going on here. We cut over to Panichia's auto body, where Deathlok's working under flickering lights, surrounded by tools and spare parts. Machine Man's laid out on a makeshift table, half repaired. Deathlok explains that some of Machine Man's digital systems are beyond him, but the basics, the gears, bolts, the mechanics of it all, he's got that covered. Machine Man sits up, and there's this really empathetic moment where he tells Deathlok, "I will need to repair and replace several internal processors, but I am functional. And you, Deathlok, how do you feel?" Deathlok pauses, and you can feel the weight of everything he's been through when he responds. "The military didn't much like that I came from another dimension. Didn't much like that I caused an international crisis either. They had hard questions. I gave them hard answers." Machine Man's analyzing him and realizes Deathlok's going through it emotionally and physically. So he does something kind of beautiful but awkward. He expresses sympathy and places a hand on Deathlok's shoulder. Deathlok's response, "Thanks, I guess." He doesn't even know how to process compassion right now because he's been put through the ringer, but Machine Man's already moving, telling him he's been running algorithms to locate Red Hulk. There are no official records of his detainment, but he's identified a likely location based on a seismic shift just outside Langley, Virginia, an anomaly that dates back to their extraction from Latveria. Machine Man climbs into a vehicle and tells Deathlok to get in because he's driving. Deathlok's low-key panicking like, "Maybe I should drive?" But Machine Man just tells him to fasten his seatbelt. These two are about to go on a rescue mission, and honestly, their dynamic is legit one of the highlights of this issue. Back with Ross and Tamika, they're walking through these hallways. Tamika tells Ross to watch his step because the facility's new, and they're still working out the kinks. Ross pauses and sniffs the air. Salt water. He's like, "What kind of prison is this?" And Tamika just casually drops, "I suppose you could call it an experiment." Ross is putting the pieces together real quick. A cell built to hold a Hulk. A reinforced facility with what sounds like Sharkman guards. Tamika with her steel exoskeleton. He asks point blank, "Is this a prison or a lab?" Tamika deflects with her own question. "Are you General Ross or Red Hulk?" But Ross ain't having it. He demands to know what branch funds this place and who her superior officer is. Tamika swipes her clearance badge, a heavy door unlocks, and she steps aside saying, "As I understand it, you two know each other well. He's all yours." Ross enters the room and absolutely freezes. "Captain Riker? Y'all, Captain Riker, the same dude who shoved Ross off a mountain, the same man who was supposedly executed by Doombots after getting fried by Force lightning. But nah, he's standing right there like nothing happened." Riker dismisses Tamika and reveals that Ross isn't the only one using discretionary funds. This entire base, Project Alpha, is dedicated to bleeding-edge bioweaponry. Ross brings up their last encounter, mentioning how he heard Riker got what he deserved, but Riker admits it was close, apologizing for the disappointment, but he's still here. Ross connects the dots immediately. You don't walk away from something like that without cutting a deal. But Riker flips it back on him. "Let's not rush to judgment. Haven't you heard? You're the traitor, Ross." And Ross doesn't hesitate. He punches Riker square in the face. Blood drips from Riker's lip, but he's completely unfazed. He tells Ross he deserved that punch, but Ross better get used to following orders, because he's no longer the only commanding officer with a weapon for a body. Then it happens. Riker's form starts shifting. Metal plates slide into place, claws extend, his eyes glow red, and he makes his declaration, "You will obey Captain Simon Riker, and you will fear the Warwolf." This reveal was dope. We're talking full transformation into this bioweapon monstrosity, and suddenly everything about this facility makes sense. This isn't just about containing Ross, it's about using him. Project Alpha isn't a prison, it's a testing ground for creating the next generation of super soldiers, and both Ross and Riker are centerpieces in this twisted experiment. The implications here are massive. How many other enhanced individuals are being held here? What experiments are they running? And most importantly, who authorized this? because Riker mentioned discretionary funds, which means someone high up in the government is bankrolling this entire operation. So where does this leave us? You got Deathlok and Machine Man on their way to rescue Ross, but they have no idea what they're walking into. This facility is designed to contain Hulk-level threats, staffed with enhanced guards, and commanded by a man who's literally transformed himself into a bioweapon called the Warwolf. Ross is trapped, powerless with that inhibitor on, and facing down someone who already betrayed him once. The country he gave everything to has turned him into a prisoner and a lab rat. That quote about rage being tainted by betrayal, that's not just poetry. That's foreshadowing what's about to come when Ross inevitably breaks free. As always, if you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, subscribe, hit that bell, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think Project Alpha's endgame is? Can Deathlok and Machine Man actually pull off this rescue? And what's gonna happen when Ross inevitably transforms and comes face to face with the Warwolf? I'll cover the next issue soon, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Until then, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.